Do you want a mod that's going to make your MPGs worse when the fuel is at some of its highest prices ever? Boy, do I got a mod for you. Let's check it out. We're working on the Ford Ranger today. We're going to get the power windows, switches, and central locking system in. And while we got the door panels undone, we're going to put some sound insulation. So we're going to take out all the interior, put down some kill mat and some foam, and then also going to try and get this headliner off and do a headliner repair. This is mainly what you'll be using to get out interior, the trim pieces, and then this is to roll on the kill mat. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a foil with some tar on the bottom, some high density foam. Video of the inside. So we've obviously got the two seats, the rear suicide seats. We're gonna take all of that out, all the carpet, get down to the bare metal. For this, you'll just take off these little trim pieces. Oh, fun. Unidentified pills from the previous owner. Go ahead and take those. The seats out. It's a little dirty, so we'll probably vacuum, do some shampoo and such, but I'm gonna work on getting the little drop seats out. All right, we've recruited Brian to help. We took out the jack. It was just 3 little 8mm, and then these little drop seats have 4 13s that are back in there, and then we're just waiting to get the T55 so we can get those off. And then we'll start taking the carpet and the trim out.
I'm just gonna see what this does. So you're not gonna use these.
It's looking like not gonna work.
There you go. You just pop them on.
Okay.
I'm so smart.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
I'm on a Chanic. Asbestos.
That's what it is. This is what it looks like inside. Cool. So now we'll put some sound deadening up there. So you just cut the kill mat to size and then roll it on with the little rollers, and you can hear much less twang, but a lot deeper sound. So now we're gonna put in the foam. Great. So we put that foam in there, and even better. So now we get the rest of the trim off, get that carpet out, do the same thing to the back and the bottom, and then we get the headliner out, and I'll show you guys the blanket that we're going to use to reupholster it, and I think it's going to give it a really good look.
What are you doing?
So we take all of this off, and then we have to sit here and scrub all of that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You just take like little copper brushes.
Are you kidding?
I wish I was.
Yo! Frank, baby!
It's definitely gonna give us cancer. Definitely cancer.
And we'll use that Super 77 stuff to stick it. Okay. All better.
So what, you gotta,
Huh?
like this, just peel it all off?
No, you just, well, Alright, carpet and the headliner out. Stock sound deadening. Just gonna go ahead and lay these, clean this up and then lay the sound deadening over it.
I quit.
So after much vacuuming and scraping, I used this, but plastic, so it's generally pretty clean now. We'll adhere the new headliner to it. How's it going in here?
My fingers hurt.
Blood. Not funny. All the kill mat down, now just putting down the sills. We're unable to get this off without ruining all of the plastic clips. So this is the design that I went with because it will match the gray interior. Okay, we sprayed the Super 77 both onto the headliner and onto the blanket, the backside of the blanket, and then flipped it over and attached it. Now we've just slit some holes so we can find where to screw stuff in. Take the scissors here, cut around the edges, leaving about a 1/2 inch to fold over. So I love the design and the pattern, but took out that piece, and I think that's what gave it some of the rigidity. So it's kind of got some droopy areas that I don't love. We'll revisit it at another time. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. Using a rug doctor here to clean up some of the carpet and seats. Carpet here for the inside, so smell nice, look nice. Interior's all back together now with the sound deadening. It sounds a little bit quieter in here, but I still want to add it to the doors, but I'll do the doors when I convert the windows to be electric and add the central locking system. I went ahead and ordered another headliner, and we'll just do the same thing in that same pattern. Pretty satisfied with the sound deadening. We're gonna get these door panels off here, get the sound deadening in there, and then we will put the automatic window switches as well as the central locking system in there. You can just see like how dirty this thing is, both inside the door panel itself and on the outside. I went ahead and did this side, cleaned it all up, and then if you look inside here, I put both the sound deadening mats and the foam on top of it. Pretty tangy, so it really makes a difference, but it does add some weight. We got the sound deadening on the other side. Now we're gonna work on the central locking system. This is the central locking system. We've got these little solenoids here that will lock and unlock the car. When we put them on the locking rod, they attach this guy, and these little rods go in there, and that's what connects to it. We're running the cables right now for the central locking system, and in order to get these cables to run through on the driver's side of the Ranger, we had to take out the parking brake assembly, and then I had to take out the parking brake release. Right here it's just dangling, but I'll put it all back together, and then I just fed the wires through the grommet here into the door panel itself. So we'll go ahead and mount the actuator to the locking cable right there and get it all wired up and see if it works.
I did the same thing, except mine was easier. You just shove it back there, right through the grommet. Pop this off, this grommet off, and then that, and then up, and then you just pull it through.
So we drilled 2 holes here, sprayed it with some clear coat so it doesn't rust, and we'll go ahead and mount this guy on the inside, get all these connectors connected, and then trim down the rod so that it works with the locking mechanism in there. It's a little hard to see, yeah, but so that little like dice looking thing with the 3 screws on it, that's what attaches the little motor for the central locking system to the actual manual door. So now when we pull up, all of it goes up. You can see that goes up, and then when it comes down, it goes down. So that to me signifies that it's tight enough that it's gonna work. I'm trying to do the power windows as well, and I think I may have to remove it all again. So I think that's gonna do it for me today. Figure it all out next time I sit down with it.
Many months later.
So I took this wiring harness down from there. The yellow here is a constant 12 volts, so I'm going to use that one to power the central locking system. And this black and pink one here is the ground that I'll be using. I'll probably find another one that has keyed 12 volt and use that for the power windows because I don't really need it when the car's off. But yeah, that's the guy. It appears I f***ed up. So key's not in the ignition, but I did splice this into that one that I thought. And this is the ground. So let's just go ahead and touch that to some metal.
This needs to stop now.
What I learned was the old horns here, the only thing that this button right here is actually doing is just connecting the ground. So I must have spliced into the horn, and when I try and connect it to ground so that way I can actually use my wire relay for the clicker for the keyless entry, it just sets the horn off. So I'm gonna have to reroute and find a different source of constant 12. The other wire that was constant 12 that I tried to connect to was the door indicator. So when I connected it to the ground, it was just like dinging at me, indicating that the door's open. So gonna have to try and find a new one again, and hopefully it'll be something that doesn't make noise. I'm also working on the power windows today. So this is the configuration that fits best with the Ranger. They give you all these different plastic bits to kind of try out and see what fits. So this small one is the one that fits best on here. I could almost crank it just by how tight it is.
Nice.
And then they've got this little egress right here where my middle finger is for a retaining screw, and that matches up to this right there. So you put these together, put that little retaining screw in it, and then it goes into this, and that's what will actually power the window. As with everything on these universal kits, nothing's labeled, but these are the only 2 that are unique. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume those are the retaining screws because this is a 2-window kit. So this is what it looks like with the retaining screw in. Okay, so it's not pretty wiring wise yet, but everything is all wired up. I've seen a lot of people do this install and they'll run it like through here and outside of the grommet because they didn't want to remove the parking brake. It's literally 3 10mm and it comes off, and you can route it all back there in through the grommet. So don't be lazy, do it. It looks better. And we'll get the power window thing right here, wire it all up, and then start putting this back together. Right now, I'm just using this as temporary to test out the work before putting everything back together, because I would hate to put everything back together and have it not work. So this is for the power central locking system. It's hooked up to a constant 12 right now, and then this is the ground. It's not great, but it'll work. Lock, unlock. And these are the switches. Certainly not the fastest, but better than having to lean over.
That's what she said.
Interesting thing to note here was that We ended up having to connect blue to green and green to blue because when we initially connected it and we pushed up, it would go down, and we pushed down, it would go up. So just by swapping the polarity of these cables, we corrected it, and now it's the right way. So we got everything wired. What we did was use the self-tappers and just cut a little slit through here so that the wires can run and sit flush over what used to be the crank hole.
What did he say?
So then zip tied all that back together, put the door back together. Door panel's back on. This is how it looks on this side. That's how it looks on that side. One last check. Let's see. Lock, unlock. Okay, key in the ignition. This is the up. Like a dream.